Welcome to Entertainment Weekly's Comic-Con Suite. I am joined now by Emily Hampshire, who has written a graphic novel, Amelia, Aearwood, Basic Witch. Okay, my first question for you is, like, how long has this been in the works?
Not that long, actually.
Okay.
In terms of, like, it wasn't always my dream to create a graphic novel. I never even thought about it, and this has turned into the dream come true that I never knew I had. It was actually an agent of mine who pursued his dream to go and work at a company called Z2 Comics, and he was like, you know, I think Emily might have a story to tell, especially an illustrated one, just because I think, like, anybody who's on my team, if you are somebody I communicate with on a regular basis, even just a friend, you're going to have to get a Bitmoji, and we're going to talk, we're going to only talk in, like, cartoons. So that's how it started, and so it hasn't been that long.
Okay. So what's your go-to Bitmoji?
Oh, well, if we're close, it's
Yes.
this. You get me.
Okay.
You get me. That one.
Okay.
And I know Bitmoji's like from 2004. I didn't have it in 2004. Late bloomer.
But now you're in it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did this particular idea for this novel come from?
Well, it was weird. I don't exactly know where. I just remember kind of thinking, watching the Kardashians and being like, if I happened to be born into that family, oh boy, would that be a problem for me? Because I would be so bad at being how great they are at doing what they do.
Right.
And so I thought, like, what if the Kardashians were a family of witches? Just because.
Love it, yeah.
And what if there was one sister you never knew about because she was cut out of the reality show because she was such a really basic, and by basic I mean bad witch, like really bad at magic.
Yeah.
And Amelia Aearwood is that witch.
I actually hope that we find out in like 10 years that there's a secret Kardashian that they never told us about.
Right?
That would be incredible. And that person should write a book.
Yes.
Like, absolutely. If you exist, write a book.
Yeah.
Okay, so giving people some context about the story. I love the logline is like the least favorite daughter of a family of very famous witches.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about kind of the world that this is set in. Is it full of supernatural kind of
Well, it's set in
beings?
a world where witches exist.
Sure.
So our world. But it's like, well, a world in which magic and stuff like that is normal, but it's also in a world where these are witches who are influencers, and they have magic that's really marketable. And Amelia's magic is, it malfunctions a lot. For example, like she was trying to get ready for the big premiere of their reality show, and she used magic, which she's not supposed to do, and she got a witch hat stuck permanently on her head. And in a world where magic exists, having a witch hat permanently stuck on your head is like, it's not cool. It's like, it's a bit like on the nose, like a hat on a hat, or a hat on a witch hat. Yeah. So.
Okay, so I read a line that I love about them using their powers for really like mundane things. So what are they mostly using their powers for?
Well, Amelia uses her powers for things like, her powers just are not good when used. So she uses them to, like, make a sandwich, or, the sisters, the other sisters who, again, they're not the Kardashians, but they're very much like them. Don't want to get sued. They're not that much like them.
Right.
But they make things like, there's an intention kind of air purifier where it's called, well, because the family is the Aearwoods. So they make like an air wick, and it spews out good intentions and stuff. And I don't know if that's actually mundane. It's just, I don't know.
I have to say, every time I think about if I had powers, it would be for the dumbest thing.
Well, that's, I think, what, like getting the Postmates.
Every time, like, a car is just, like, a little bit, like, I'm like, I could fit in that spot if you just moved up a tiny bit. If I could just move that car up,
use your magic for
incredible.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That kind of stuff would be, like, really
Yeah.
great.
Well, I think at one point Amelia was going to use her magic to, like, sweep or something, and someone was like, well, that's a Roomba. That's not...
Hey,
that's not magic.
If you could be a Roomba, though,
right?
who wouldn't want to be a Roomba?
I'd love to be a Roomba, actually. Oh my God, all day, just I'd
chilling.
bump myself. You'd find me like smashing my head into the wall.
Stuck in a
all
corner.
day, stuck in a corner. Poor Roomba. Like that turtle on TikTok that's upside down and all the other turtles come to help.
Oh. Well, if only Amelia were there, she could flip
I
it
know.
over. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But I do feel like the other element of this, which obviously you've talked about the Kardashians, but we should say is that they're actually on a reality show within this world, right?
Yes.
Okay, so did you do it did you do some more research about that? Did you learn anything about reality shows?
Well, I mean, I learned about reality shows within the comic, which is within the world. I like the idea of this show within a show, and we have a different artist who does the stuff in the TV, which is kind of fun because all the stuff in the TV is done by an artist whose style is much more like beautiful and Disney, and Kristen Gutznick, who's the main artist. I loved her work when I first saw it because she's real scrappy. And so the real world is kind of scrappy, and then you have this reality, very like soft, focused world.
Yeah. As reality likes to portray itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you said at the start of this is not necessarily something you like set out to do.
Yeah.
Now that you've done it, did anything surprise you about the experience?
Oh my God, so much. I'm also just obsessed with it now. To think that I never wanted to do a comic, almost didn't do this.
Yeah.
Because, like, my favorite thing to do is kind of create worlds, and what I didn't realize is, like, in a comic book, there's no budget that you can't, like, I wanted a Jell-O pool. Amelia's got a Jell-O pool. Like, we didn't have to get the budget for that. There wasn't health and safety that came in that was like, got to take a Jell-O pool. But what I didn't realize was, like, all the different moving parts. For instance, there's the artist, but then there's a colorist and a letterer. Like, a person who just does lettering. That's their whole thing, which I'm obsessed with because I like fonts. But this person knows their font.
Right.
Yeah. So all those parts of it is really interesting. I just always thought a graphic novel is made by a weirdo, because comic books are for weirdos and misfits. Like, and that's kind of where I see Amelia is. I always loved that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Christmas story, where they're island of misfit toys, and that's what I gravitate towards usually. So I'm like, why didn't I ever think of a comic book? Because everybody here at Comic-Con is a misfit.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Okay, wait, so I have to ask, what is a Jell-O pool? Do you swim in it or do you eat it, or both?
I mean, both. You can swim and then eat your way back to the shallow end.
Okay.
I got to have things. I was like, what? Well, also why I wanted it to be in a world of witches and very wealthy people, because I was like, oh, I want Amelia to have like a trampoline and a Jell-O pool and just stuff that I want, but like, I don't know why I can't. I shouldn't say I can't have it. We can do anything. Sure. But yeah, no, it's just it's whatever you can imagine. Like, if you could have any kind of anything, like.
Well, now I'm just thinking about pools.
Yeah. Pudding,
I was
pool.
going to say chocolate. Like
chocolate. Nutella pool. Ooh. I don't know why I didn't make it a Nutella pool.
Well, maybe in the future. Yeah. That's the next one. Well, which is actually the last thing I'll just ask you of. Whether it's more to this story or just more graphic novels, are you in this now? Is there more for you to do?
Oh, yeah. To me, once I got into this story, this is, to me, the beginning of a whole world. Like, there's going to be the Amelia cartoon. There's going to be the Amelia musical. Don't think I haven't already written songs.
Amazing.
There's going to be, I see this as an Ameliaverse.
I love that.
Yeah.
Full of Jell-O pools.
Full of Jell-O pools.
Of all flavors.
At the end, she ends up, I mean, this is a spoiler, but she ends up living in a hoagie house, like a house in the shape of a hoagie.
That everything is edible.
I know. They go to sandwich heaven.
This is amazing.
I was hungry. So.
I love it. I can't wait to see it. All right, well, thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah. And for everybody else, stay tuned to EW.com for all your Comic-Con needs.
Thanks. I'm not going to run out of here.
You're not going to
I'm not.